Hello, Glenn Denman here, working on the bus again, of course. And what else would I be doing but working on the bus? And again, I've got my lovely wife with me here, and we just have a great time. And she likes the bus a lot. She didn't
Yeah.
like the bus at first. She hated the bus, as a matter of fact. But now she likes the bus now that she sees the possibilities of it. Um, anyway, so the thing I want to cover today is I had put all this OSB in the bus on the walls and on the ceiling, which at the time, the price is right and things like that. And I'm not afraid of OSB for that matter. It'd been nice to have a little bit smoother surface to work with, especially when you get into the kitchen cabinets and because the way I built the cabinets in, they're literally built to the walls. So the rear of the cabinets is the OSB. So now I have to cover the OSB. So anyway, so the OSB is not a problem structurally or anything like that, or I don't think it's a problem for moisture, but it's just I'm having to cover it all up. So what I'm doing now is I've taken some vinyl flooring, some vinyl snap together flooring, which is 100% waterproof flooring, and I'm using that on the walls. I've only done a part of the bathroom so far, or most of the bathroom, and so the video that we're going to have here next is going to be just basically how I'm putting that together and how it's looking, and it's actually looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. So it's just a way of covering up the OSB on the walls, and it's one thing about the OSB, it's real easy to glue to. I've got the smooth side on the inside of the interior of the bus, and it makes it really nice for gluing stuff to it. And so I really like that fact. And so anyway, so we'll see how that video comes out. It's not going to be completely finished in this video, but I'm just kind of showing the methods there that I've used. So it's actually worked out pretty good. So we'll see how that video goes. What do you think about that, honey?
Yep.
Yep. That's it. Just yep.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. She likes it though. She says she doesn't, but she really does inside.
I do too like
No,
it.
no, just kidding. She likes it.
Why?
Anyway, we'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching. Okay, so here I am working on working on the bathroom, and the bathroom is getting smaller and smaller with the more stuff I add to it. However, it is very functional and I really like it. So what I thought I'd show today is basically what I'm putting on the walls. So I put this OSB on the walls. A lot of people, they don't like OSB for whatever reason. I don't know why. It's worked out really well for what I'm doing. And so I've got the 7/16 OSB here on the walls. And then for my actual walls that don't have any support behind them, I've got 3/4 inch OSB. And then of course this is a pocket door here that goes in between. So basically I've got a 3/4 inch OSB here, a 3/4 inch OSB here. And this stuff is called sturdy floor, and it actually has a better span rating than 3/4 inch plywood. So the OSB that I have in here is working out really well. I mean, if I had it to do over again, I may have just used plywood, but with the way I'm finishing this here, I'm finding out that it really doesn't matter if I would have used plywood or OSB. So I'm pretty happy with it. Now, the way I'm covering the walls here is I'm putting this 100% waterproof vinyl flooring on at this lower area. And then of course down here I've got this shelf that has some plumbing and some stuff behind it there. And it's one of the few places it's really kind of tucked away that's not going to be very accessible. But if I had to get in there, I could. And so I'm using this gray stuff on the bottom, which is kind of dark. Anyway, I might go ahead and do some kind of a white material on the ceiling just to brighten it up a little bit in here. But for the most part, it's working out just fine. And so I've got this oak piece here that goes around, and these are those oak staves that I've talked about in other videos. And I've got these all polyurethane real nice. I've got my window here wrapped, And so what I did here is I've got this front trim hanging over about a ½ inch into the window, so that my blind will go in here and it won't be able to swing out as you're going down the road. So, and then the top here, I have it hanging down just about maybe 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch, just to hide the top piece, because I don't plan on having any valance per se. So that kind of acts as the valance. And so this is ready. This wall here is ready to cover. This wall here is pretty much setting the pattern for what I'm going to have over here. Now, what I'm doing here is, this is another type of 100% waterproof flooring. But anyway, I put this gray stuff on the bottom, and I thought, since I have this piece kind of breaking up the bottom half from the top half anyway, that I'd go ahead and just have a different color material on the top. My original plan was to have some kind of a snap together wood wall covering anyway. The problem is, the stuff that's real wood is going to be about 3/4 of an inch or more, and I didn't want to go that thick and that heavy. So this stuff here is pretty light. The vinyl is actually kind of heavy, but the vinyl is very, very thin. So the vinyl that I have on there is I think I have a piece here somewhere. Well, anyway, I guess I don't, but it's less than 1/4 of an inch thick. It's about 3/16 of an inch thick. Here's a piece here. I think this is it. Anyway, it's very, very thin. And so like I said, about 3/16. So it's not adding much to the thickness of the walls, because one thing about when you're converting a bus is the thickness of the walls is something to be considered. So I've got that 100% vinyl on the bottom. It's all snapped together. It's very smooth, easy to wash. I've got the 100% waterproof stuff up here. I guess, I don't know if it's vinyl. I'm not really sure what it is. It's some kind of a product that I got from Lowe's. Matter of fact, I'll show you the box here. It's called this Smart Core Ultra at Lowe's. And it has a kind of a nice back on it here, rubber back material. And then the front has this nice wood grain design. And that's really working out pretty good. Actually, I bought the box not really knowing if I wanted to use it for sure, but I really like the way it's coming out. So I have the rest of the bathroom here ready with this same theme, with this line going around, kind of this wainscot thing, and it continues to here. So I'll have the gray down here, the wood grain looking stuff here, gray down here, wood grain stuff here. I still got to finish capping off this shower. I've got my tile here. I just haven't put it on yet, but that'll be another video. And then if you move into the bedroom, I've got this mirror here that I've had this mirror and this mirror here for about 25 years sitting around in my shop. Finally able to use them. I've got my piece that goes across there, and that's going to eventually continue all the way to the window there once I get that window trimmed out. And then, so I've got the same idea going here. It goes across other side of the doorway to there, and then here it goes to there. So I have the gray down here and the wood grain up here. Same thing over here. Just to kind of break it up, so I don't just have one wall with one color all the way down to the floor. So, so my approach here is I'm doing the sides that have the curve of the bus to it first. That way these pieces here will be square and it's going to be easier to cover any gaps and stuff, because sometimes it's hard to get those angles just right and stuff. So that way these will just butt right up against that. I won't even have to use any trim. I have zero trim down here. It looks great. If you go this way here and look at it, you know, I don't know how much you can see that. There is a little bit of a gap there. A couple pieces were a little bit short, but you can't really see it from this angle, and it looks just fine. I don't need any trim. This end down here is just butted nice and tight up against the maple here. And I'm also not worried about the expansion of the material. First of all, I'm putting it in pretty hot weather. So if it's going to expand, it's going to do it when it's hot. Plus, if you're going to do a big giant floor, yeah, then you have to worry about expansion because, you know, maybe you have a 20-foot wide room, 25-foot wide room or whatever. It's going to expand, you know, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, but a 4-foot piece is not going to expand enough that I'm aware of that'll even be a problem. So this lower part's been on here for a couple weeks now. This part's been just started here a couple days ago. So what I'm going to do today is go ahead and work my way around here and this, and then I'll go ahead and do this side first also here. That way these pieces will be square here and square here, and basically it's going to go on just like you do wood siding on a house. When you do wood siding on a house, you put all your corner trim on, you put all your window trim on, and then you just put your siding in between those pieces. If you can see, that's how I did my house there. All that siding is just butted up to the trim. So I'm doing the same thing with the bus here. I'm just cutting the pieces, butting them up to this. The trim is thicker than the pieces, so that lends itself to you know, to work out well. And so I'm going to go ahead and work my way around and just do this wall and this wall here for the sake of this video. Now, I don't have my ceiling figured out yet. I have an idea of what I'm going to do with it, but I just haven't put that together yet. So, but I can go ahead and work my way up to my curvature here. And of course, this is going to stay open for a while because I still got a bunch of wiring that's going to run through here. Then I'm going to have a removable panel here that'll cover that up. That way I can take it out and get to that wiring if I ever have to, and things like that. So anyway, so that's what I'm working on. So we'll see how that video goes. So it's kind of hard to videotape in such a small space. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and proceed. I've got my first piece cut here that's supposed to go between the trim and the wall over here. And what I'm attaching this with is just silicone. So I'm just putting a few beads of silicone on there, push it up against the wall, and it's staying pretty much for the most part by itself. Sometimes I put some added measures to hold it in place. But one thing about that, siliconing this foam pad to the wall would also make it easy to remove. If I ever had to remove it, I could just pull it off, scrape the glue off, and then put a different product on. I mean, not that I'm into just going around changing all my walls now and then, but you just never know if something was to happen with the bus and some disaster took place and you had to replace a bunch of stuff, then at least it's easy enough to do. So anyway, so I'm going to test this piece here for fit. I've already cut it. And this first piece that I have up against the trim here, I've got it trimmed off here so I don't have that startup edge. And then my snap-in edge will be here at the top. So, well, I can see here I'll have to trim this to fit around the windowsill. That's better for that initial fit. This saw here is super handy for making these little cuts. I went ahead and cut the main part of it with the table saw, or the chop saw actually. Then I'll finish it with this tool here. I think I made that just a touch high here, but it'll be fine, I think. Yeah, it's just got a little tiny gap there. I could take and rip just a little bit more off this whole thing and drop that down that much, but I don't know. Matter of fact, I think I will. I'll take about a 32nd of an inch off of the length of it here at the bottom. So I did that. Now the challenge I'm going to have here is by the time I stack these pieces up over here and then have a full-size piece here, is it going to work out to where when I come back down here or come up here to meet that, is it going to be exactly the same? So I was going to go ahead and trim off the next piece over. It's going to be here the same as this one, but I think I'm going to wait just in case there's some funky anomaly with it or something. So anyway, so I'll go ahead and put this in here and see how that looks. That looks pretty good. So that gap's pretty tight now. I didn't quite take off, not even really a 32nd. So, but that piece is good. I just hope that by the time it comes over here, that it's going to work out. Matter of fact, I think I'll do a little measuring now just to kind of check on that. So I think what I've got here, I'm pretty sure these are exactly the same height, 24 and 5/8. This is 24 and 5/8 exactly. So it's exactly the same height. What I'm not sure about is if this piece is actually perfectly straight. So if this takes a dive a little bit, then I may have to adjust. I may actually have to build this up on this side, come over and just kind of snap some pieces in just to see how they're fitting. Coming down over here, maybe take some scrap pieces and snap them in just to see how that's working out. So I hope that's not going to be a problem. Anyway, because I remember the sink here not being exactly level. Anyway, we'll just have to see how it works out. Matter of fact, well, I guess I'll have to start gluing this stuff in no matter what. So one thing about it, if this is all over here a little bit too low, that'll be okay, because then I can always trim this over here to fit it. If it's too high, if that's all too high, when I come over here, then I'll have a gap here at the bottom. But I'm hoping that that's not going to be the case. So we'll just have to see how it goes. One thing about it, I can always rip it back off and do it again or do something different. So that's just the chances you take sometimes with this stuff. Problem is with these buses, the walls are crooked and nothing's square. Anyway, it's really hard to deal with sometimes. So I'm just kind of putting some enough on there to kind of get some pretty good sized beads. I'd rather do larger beads than to have continuous runs, just because then I know if you do a continuous run, maybe part of that isn't going to touch the wall. It's just better to have a nice big bead on it. When you put this on, it just kind of stays in place. That silicone just kind of makes it stick there. I don't push it too hard. I'd rather just kind of push till it stops. That way I'm not forcing anything where it won't spring back again. So that may not stay for sure, but I'll just start working on the next piece and keep going all the way around. Matter of fact, what I might do is, now that I've got that piece on there, I may be able to do some checking here, just to see how it's coming over here, maybe measure down, just see what it's starting to look like. One thing about it, these old handles off of the bus windows are pretty handy straight edges. So if that, well, it's so dark in here, it's just hard to tell. I'll just go to the very top of that piece. Boy, I don't know, that just looks way off. I don't want to set this down where I'm going to scratch something either. Looks about there. A lot of eyeballing, so it's never sure if you're doing that. But okay. Looks like my mark is just about in the right place. Now, get rid of this thing so I don't tip it over on something. So 6 and about 3/32. Yeah, it's about 6 and 3/16. So it's about a, oh man, it's about 3/32 of an inch off. What to do? I may have to take that piece off and lower it like this. Boy, I think that piece is going to come off and it's going to be garbage. One thing I can do towards fixing that, so I can take this piece that I just put on, just barely put a slight wedge under the end of it. It wouldn't even be noticeable. Like that. And you can't even see that really. But it might be enough of a tilt just to barely accommodate that. So I'm going to check that again with that little piece of paper in there. Well, that's pretty close. So just to show what I've done here is I just put this piece of thin cardboard in there. You can't really tell. There's a slight gap there, but it's dark. It's tight here. And so that tilts that just enough to come over here and just give me a maybe 3/32 of an inch here. And that's provided it's going to be the same width all the way down there. I just remember putting this piece of wood on. I didn't even consider that. I remember having to kind of curve it just a little bit. So with that being said, I may end up with just a slight gap down here. I don't know. I'll just have to wait and see how it works out. So we'll just see how it goes here. 21 and 13/16. I want to hurry up and get going around this window, so in case it is all screwed up when I get over here, at least it won't be completely dry. I can rip it all off again and start over if I have to. You know, these should all be the same length, but they're kind of getting just slightly shorter as I go. It's wanting to spring back just a little bit. May have to do something to keep that tight. When you snap it into the next piece, it kind of gives it a little bit of tension. So anyway, I'm going to try to just keep on going here. One more piece before I get into a full length one. So now my next piece, I'll cut to come all the way over, and I'll put this piece on, then I'll measure down, see how that's looking, and then I'll have to stack my way up and meet it somehow. Now this I glued on with regular construction adhesive, this trim, because I wanted something a little more hardy than just silicone when I'm going wood to wood, and something that's going to be permanent. I mean, really the whole thing hopefully will be permanent. I don't think I'll ever have to remove this stuff, but it's just kind of nice to know that you can if you have to. Another thing to consider here too is the seams. I might put a piece on here going from here to here, so that we have a seam here and over here instead of a seam almost in line with the window that'll just kind of make the whole thing look off. So in revisiting this, I think I'd almost rather have a seam here instead of trying to cut a notch out for this in the middle of the piece. That way I might have a little more control over what I'm doing. Wow. Man, that is perfect. I'll tell you, I could not have asked for a better fit than that. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this piece in. The thing is with the silicone, once it starts to kind of pull away over here, it's probably not going to come back again. So this next piece will have glue on it, so that'll keep this one tight as well. But I may have to do something to hold this in place all the way down the length of it, just to make sure everything so far is going to be nice and glued to the wall, nice and tight. So that shouldn't be a problem. Go ahead and glue that in. Matter of fact, I probably won't do this top piece for a while, so I'm just going to go ahead and put some screws in there just to hold that down. A few places here. just enough so the head of the screw will actually hold it. That just came out really nice. I mean, this trim sticks out about 3/32 of an inch further than the material in the wall covering. So that looks good. I just hope by the time I come over here and go down that it works out. Actually, I can't do any of this yet until I have this done. I'm sorry. So I can't do any of this here and then down until I have these pieces all in. Otherwise, I've tried to cut all these angles just right to be tight, and I'd rather have my square pieces cover my angled pieces in these corners. And we'll put one more in here, then I'm going to start stacking up this side. Trouble is now it's getting kind of late. I may not be able to finish it tonight. Might have to pick up on it again actually in 3 days. Or day after tomorrow, I guess. Yeah, a couple of days. But I'll go ahead and cut another one, put it in, see what I can do. Okay, so a couple things are going on here. First of all, I ran out of materials. I had only bought one box of this wood grain stuff, but there's plenty more to be had, so I'm gonna have to give up on it tonight. It's getting late anyway. But I've got these stacked up here, and actually these angle pieces came out so tight I probably could have done this wall first, but it really doesn't matter. Went ahead and pulled out my box and put my trim piece on. It came out really nice along the edge of the mirror here. I've got this stuff here just to kind of push up against that piece until it dries. It's sitting up there anyway just fine. So so when I come back to this, I'll take these screws out, put this piece in here, measure down. The problem is I'll have to have that piece perfectly straight on here. I won't want to cut my next piece up here yet until I have this piece figured out. Anyway, that's the problem. You get down to this last little run here, and I almost need to really just cut this piece here once I get some more stuff. Cut this piece, put it across here, snap in, and just work my way down and see how it comes out at the bottom, I guess is the way to do it. I'll just work my way down, and hopefully when I get to the bottom, it'll be nice and tight on this trim here. We'll just have to see how it goes. So that'll be coming up in a couple of days. As far as the video goes, it'll be in about 30 seconds. Okay, so I'm just kind of finishing this video up here, and so last time when I left off, I hadn't yet put this part here in. Anyway, just having the video running out here plus having to work on it at night, it's kind of a pain. But what I ended up doing was I stacked these panels up this side, then worked my way across to here. And then I had to cut this piece so that I could snap it into the length of this one. That way I could kind of gauge my distance over here. And I ended up going backwards from the top down here instead of from the bottom up, and then hoping that it meets. So that worked out actually pretty well. So I was able to snap this longer piece in. I cut this piece out, snapped it in, and then I just kind of went down backwards all the way down. And the bottom piece, I just barely had to take like a 32nd of an inch off the bottom from what I would normally have done if I had stacked it up the other way. And it came out really nice and tight here. So if I'd have built it up this way and I'd have been a 32nd of an inch off, then this would have, this gap here wouldn't have been right, and it would have just fouled up the whole thing. So anyway, so it came out pretty good. Now this cut here I really like. I had to, that was a freehand cut. It came out just perfect on the first try. This one here, I've got just about not quite a 32nd inch gap, just for about 3 or 4 inches here. And then I ended up getting a little tiny notch right there, and I don't know, it's fine. I'm just going to leave it because I don't want to just keep trying it with 5 different pieces or 6 different pieces. I end up going through a whole box trying to get it perfect. So that was another freehand cut, and just went a little far there, got that little notch in it, but it's fine. What I don't like about this is it is really dark. So especially with my oak trim here around the window, I like the way it looks. It came out spectacular, really. I really enjoy it. So so I'm thinking about doing a cream colored ceiling, or maybe even white, even if it's just in the bathroom here, just to try to brighten this up a little bit. So it is awfully dark, and that reveal came out really nice around the edge here. And same thing on this side. Anyway, it's all there. So so now to finish this out, I've got a piece here that I'll put in, and this piece will go inside here. The problem is I should have actually had this piece in first before I put this piece on, since it has to go up behind it, but I've already fitted this in there. What I ended up doing, because I won't be able to fit it down in and then snap it in place, I ended up taking the back side here, and I just shaved enough off of this this lip here, just so that I can drop it straight in to this piece here. So then the other piece will also stop just right at the top of the mirror. Then I will build a soffit here right across, and I'm not sure how far out, maybe 6 inches or whatever. And then that I'll have my lights mounted in the bottom of that. So I'm going to go ahead and put this piece in. I don't have any glue on it, but I can just squeeze some glue in behind it. But I've already cut it here, and I've already had it in there once. And anyway, I thought I'd just kind of show actually putting it in there. It just fits right in there really snug. So that's nice and level right across there. So now I don't have to worry about trying to match this side with this side, because it's just going to stop here anyway. If I was going to go up and over and back down, then I would have the same problem that I had over here at the window. So anyway, so I'll glue that piece in there, and I'll put this piece in here, get my soffit in, and then I can go ahead and put some down through here. You probably can't see, but anyway, I got to put that same vinyl that I have there from here down. That'll be from here down also. And then I'll use this other wood stuff, or wood looking stuff, from here up. And same thing on this side. And the bathroom will be pretty well complete, with the exception of the ceiling and the cover up of this corner. And then I need to work on my ceiling fan. So really the only thing I'm lacking for this bathroom to having it completely finished is the drain connection underneath the sink. The tail piece is already there. I just got to finish hooking it up. The pipes are already hooked up for the fresh water. So I need the pipes under the sink, the soffit built here with the lights, an exhaust fan, and the ceiling, and not necessarily in that order. Actually, I need to put the ceiling up first, and then I can work on putting the exhaust fan in through it. Now, being that I'm talking about this vinyl snap together flooring, what I've got in here is, in order again to cover the OSB. Okay, so I went ahead and lined the back of these cabinets here with some really super thin, really inexpensive vinyl snap together flooring. It's 100% waterproof. And that's worked out really well for the inside of these cabinets at the back here. So anyway, I drove the bus today, so I've got this kind of stuck. But anyway, but I've got that in the back of all these, and that's going to work out pretty well. So I'm going to go ahead and put that snap together flooring inside the back of all these cabinets to cover up the OSB. And then of course the whole ceiling of the bus needs to be done. And again, I kind of wish I'd have put the ceiling in before I put all this other stuff in. But anyway, that's where I'm at today. Hope this video is helpful on how to cover the walls. And that vinyl snap together flooring is really thin. It is kind of heavy, but it's thin and it doesn't take up much room as far as wall thickness goes. Snaps together easy, glues onto the wall easy, and it's got a lot of variety for colors and styles. So that's why I went ahead and went with that route. Anyway, hope everybody enjoys the video, and as usual, take care of yourselves and God bless. Thank you.